Uganda, March 17, 2001. Members of the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God gather in a church in Kanungu. Against their will, the doors to the church are locked. The church is set ablaze, and hundreds of men, women, and children perish in the flames. In the days that follow, hundreds more corpses of the cult's followers are discovered in other locations, nearly 1,000 in all. The cult's leaders have never been apprehended. But the problem of cults in East Africa goes far beyond a single tragedy. The Mormons are expanding their missionary efforts and targeting evangelical Christians. The Jehovah's Witnesses are working in 10 languages in Uganda alone, and dozens of others across the continent.
We found some Watchtower magazines in one of the Baptist pastors' house, and he didn't know, there was any problem with the Jehovah's Witnesses. He said, they visit me, they are teaching me pastoral work.
Lesser-known groups from Europe and the United States are aggressively establishing churches and sowing division and confusion.
It's evidence of either wealth or conversions by those groups happening, because they are sort of looking into the future and putting up such huge structures.
I think the campuses are a prime target for cults. So there are lots of students who probably don't quite understand these groups, or they don't know how to argue or how to defend their faith against what the cults are teaching.
Indigenous cult groups, some of them violent, combine elements of Christianity with traditional paganism, even encouraging the mass burning of Bibles.
Witchcraft is being mixed up with Christianity, so fake teachers are using the Bible and witchcraft.
Health and wealth gospel preachers, imitating the worst of the televangelists from the United States, promote heresy, some of them openly robbing and exploiting countless naive and undiscerning Christians, causing wave upon wave of scandal, bringing the gospel message into disrepute, and leaving a trail of disillusion and devastation.
It's very challenging. People are taken advantage of. They are being conned of their property. Sick people are being misled of medication. If we don't address this challenge urgently and immediately, we see people getting fed up with God, with Christ, with the gospel altogether.
And on top of all this, the church faces the constant challenge of missionary Islam. The majority of pastors in Africa today have little or no formal ministry training, making them and their congregations constantly vulnerable to the deception of cultic groups.
Well, the problem in general is with training. In fact, many of the pastors have had no biblical training at all.
The church in Africa has been described as a mile wide and as an inch deep. In fact, it could even be half an inch deep. Yes, while we are registering many conversions into Christ, we are not producing an equal quality of pastors who are grounded, who rightly define the word of truth. And because of that lack of quality leadership, our people are prey to deceit, to deception of all kinds, including cults.
Even some of the pastors and theologians are also getting astray because they cannot define between the true gospel and the counterfeit. So there is need for people to be equipped to beware cults, false teaching, and the occult, so that they don't fall prey.
There's definitely need for equipping the body of Christ with the facts, the knowledge, and tools to be able at least to filter out the truth from lies, and then be able to teach what is true.
The greatest need we have today in the context of our church is the need to train for discernment. We have so many doctrines, so many ideas coming to us from the West, leave alone syncretism within our own setting. we would really appreciate anybody who comes to us to give us a helping hand to equip our lay readers and local pastors so they can effectively communicate the message of the gospel as Jesus passed it down to us.
The Centers for Apologetics Research, with more than 30 years' experience in countercult research and evangelism on 5 continents, is responding to the cries of African leaders to develop a unique new ministry to meet this urgent challenge. CFAR is preparing to launch the Africa Center for Apologetics Research, the first ministry of its kind in East Africa. The center's vision is to equip pastors, Christian workers, and lay believers, first in East Africa, then across the continent. Working in partnership with major apologetics ministries in the U.S., the Center in Africa will develop and distribute a wide range of resources in English and local languages. Even more importantly, the Center will train pastors, ministry workers, and lay believers to recognize and respond to cults and false teachings, and win cultists to Christ. God has supplied a leader to launch the ministry. John DeVito was raised an active member of the Mormon Church. Today, John is a gifted defender of the historic Christian faith, with a passion to train pastors and Christian leaders in Africa for discernment and the defense of the faith. John and his wife, Jennifer, are ready to move to East Africa to launch the work of the center in 2009, just as soon as their prayer and financial support is raised. The hour has come to give hope to African pastors and Christian workers as they struggle against cults and false teachings on a daily basis.
Please, equip us with the tools. Give us information, give us the tracts, give us the CDs for those who are able to have access to computers. Give us the information. People who will come and teach us and teach our people.
That's why we need to address the false teaching, the cult, and the occult immediately. Actually, not later, but now.